Formula 2 used to be the best junior series. If you wanted to make it to Formula 1, Formula 2 was the way to go. Nowadays, it's more of an engine lottery, money-influenced, and not a skill-based racing series. Where did it go wrong, and how can it be fixed? I used to watch GP2, how Formula 2 was called back in the day. It was part of a racing weekend with my dad. First, we'd watch GP2, then Formula 1. That's how we filled our weekends. Now, I almost never watch it. I just read back the results or watch a recap. It's not what it used to be, and that's a shame. With GP2 seasons like 2005 with Nico Rosberg, 2006 with Lewis Hamilton, and 2009 with Nico Hülkenberg, I was treated pretty well. With 23 races at 12 different circuits, they had enough time to prove they were capable of racing in Formula 1. They were rookies who won in their first year in the racing series, being consistent, winning battles with their competitors, and showcasing their raw speed earned them a Formula 1 racing seat. In 2017, we had the season with Charles Leclerc. In 2018, George Russell, Lando Norris, and Alex Albon showcased their skills. They still had 23 to 24 races at Formula 1 tracks. Leclerc dominated, Russell dominated, and Norris and Albon showed they were capable of winning. There was a lot of competition in these seasons, but the drivers that were special always stood out. In recent years, we've had new champions and great talents, but they don't graduate to Formula 1. Why is that? The series is influenced by money, academy drivers, and private testing. There's a lot of drivers that buy a race seat and block an opportunity for a driver who can actually race. A recent example is the signing of Niels Coulion by AIX in F2. A driver with, let's say, a less than fantastic resume. One of the slowest I've ever seen. But what he does have is a wealthy father, which resulted in him being on the Formula 2 grid. Luckily for his fellow competitors, it was only for 2 race weekends. This is a structural problem for Formula 2. Money decides who gets the seat, not driving skills. There are, of course, exceptions, but most of these drivers are F1 Academy drivers, and they have collaborations with some of the F2 teams. But if you thought that was the only thing money buys you in Formula 2, you're wrong. Having a lot of money also buys you the best car setups. The team you're in is centered around you, which results in you being a better performer. But are they really better than the competition? Then we have Formula 2 as a racing series. It's a spec series, meaning that every driver has the same machinery, but here's the kicker. It's not the same machinery. The series is manipulated in terms of car performance. Not only are the car setups an issue, but the engines are also a problem. It's called the Mechachrome Lottery. The machines from the manufacturer are inconsistent. You either get an engine that has 200 horsepower less and blows up when you start it, or you get an engine that has 200 horsepower more and never blows up. And then they want us to believe it's a spec series with equal machinery. Before we get on with the video, I quickly want to ask for your help. I'm trying to reach 5,000 subs before the end of the year, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe and help me out. Okay, let's continue. We're almost ready for the solutions, but first, we need to talk about F2 champions not graduating to Formula 1. Why is that? It's because of Formula 1 team driving academies. Drivers in these academies do a lot of private testing. This gives them experience in Formula 1 machinery. They get tested in a car they might drive in the future, allowing Formula 1 teams to get a clear view of their potential. This is why recent champions like Drugovich, De Vries, or Pourchaire don't have a Formula 1 seat. Drugovich didn't have an academy seat, De Vries used to be a McLaren junior, but let's be honest, he wasn't good enough, and Pourchaire was part of the Sauber Academy, but we all know that means absolutely nothing. But why do we have a lot of rookies on the grid next year? It's because of the private testing these rookies did. With Behrman, Antonelli, Doohan, and Lawson, we do get Formula 2 drivers that graduate, which is the reason Formula 2 exists, right? Not really. They all have 2 things in common, being part of a driver academy and private testing. Behrman, for example, tests a lot and even did 2 Grand Prix weekends this season. Antonelli has done full testing days in old Mercedes machinery. Doohan does the same for Alpine and is also their simulator driver. Lawson made his debut last year and also did a lot of testing. There we have our answer. They've already tested in F1 cars, some have even raced, and this gives the team a clear view of their capabilities. This makes Formula 2 almost unnecessary. But what about Franco Colapinto? He shows that Formula 2 is a joke. He doesn't have outstanding results. Yes, he did win, but it was his free practice at Silverstone for Williams that earned him the seat. Now he's showing that he has the speed. Colapinto challenges Albon, and based on his current results, he deserves an F1 seat. Now, onto the solutions. I don't think it's too hard to fix Formula 2. It just has to go back to the core of the series. If that happens, it will return to the old days, and F2 will become a series that proves you're a good racing driver. But how will that happen? First, we need to eliminate the ability to buy a race seat. With drivers like Coulin, it's clear that it's more of a risk than a guarantee of performance. Only put real talents in the cars and let them show what they're capable of. If they have sponsor money, that's okay, but don't let them dictate which driver you choose. Then they definitely need a fix for car issues. A spec series with so much difference between the cars? That's just not right. Make sure all the engineers are equal, the drivers have equal car setups, and pit crews are all capable of doing a good job. Let the drivers stand out, not the cars. That's for Formula 1. But that's not all. They also need to eliminate the advantage of driver academies, and that's not just for the Formula 2 season, but for Formula 1 sprints. In a recent video of mine, some people suggested that the sprint races should be for rookies, and honestly, I can get behind that. There's a lot of fast drivers who don't have the support of an academy, which doesn't give them Formula 1 testing. If F1 Sprint were a rookie exclusive, that would get them testing time. The drivers would have 6 races to showcase their skills, give them a 30-minute practice session, a 30-minute qualifying session, and end with a 30-minute race. Create a rookie driver ranking and crown a rookie sprint F1 champion at the end of the year. They're expecting an end-of-season rookie sprint in 2025, but if the whole F1 sprint were for rookies, it would give all the drivers a chance to show what they can do in Formula 1 machinery. Will this happen? Probably not, but it's a better idea than what we have now. Private testing would become less valuable. The F1 sprint results would provide a real challenge, with pressure, which would not only value drivers' skills, but also the mindset of the drivers. Formula 2 would be the go-to junior series to graduate to Formula 1 again. Equal machinery and zero paid drivers would highlight the real talents. These talents would have a better chance of joining an F1 team, and that's what every racing driver dreams of. Do I think rookies of next season will perform? Yes, I do. They're already Formula 1 trained because of the private testing. That means that teams know they can perform. Of course, a whole season is different from a few testing days, but they will have confidence right from the start, which is very important in Formula 1. Talking about Formula 1, it's time for you to discover what's wrong with the sport. With the new aero regulations, semi-electric engines, and another street circuit, they're going in the wrong direction. If that's not for you, we need to talk about the FIA and Ben Sulayem. From Abu Dhabi 2021 to Jewelrygate and now Swearinggate, they've officially gone crazy. See you there.